Hi, I'm Jennifer from Heisel, and today I'm really pleased to be joined by Rikki from Mayflower Engineering. Hi, Rikki.
Hi Jennifer, you okay?
Yeah, great. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me today. And I'd first like to know a little bit about the company you work for. So, what do you mainly produce, and could you tell us a little bit about the company background?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, the company I work for is Mayflower Engineering Limited. We've been going for over 40 years now, founded in 1974, specialising in sort of bespoke engineering. The stuff that people don't really like to do or are scared of doing is the stuff that we thrive on. We take that challenge on and we'll try and manufacture them niche things, so turnkey projects, special projects. Like I said, anything that people really don't want to have a go at is what we like to have a go at. We had a management buyout in 2008, where the MD, now Kevin Bingham, bought out the company. And yeah, they went from strength to strength under his leadership, and we've been doing well over the last few years.
Sounds excellent. And what's your main role within the company? What do you mainly do?
So my role, I run two departments. I run the planning department, so when we win a contract, we do all the planning to get that through. And I also run the procurement department, so I have a small buying team and expediters. And yeah, I run them two departments, and we go pretty much hand in hand.
Excellent, excellent. And could you give us a brief overview of the current situation with regards to sourcing in the UK? Obviously, it's been a very turbulent year for a lot of manufacturing companies, and the UK has been no exception. So have you noticed a difference between, obviously, you haven't got over COVID virus yet, but have you noticed a difference between before the onset and now in terms of sourcing and the situation in the UK?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, before COVID happened, everyone had the structured suppliers that everyone was happy with, and you sort of just placed orders on people you knew. Since COVID's hit, obviously there's people that have gone bankrupt. There's people that are still working on shorter times. People that have still got half the staff furloughed. Some companies even want to charge up front, which makes it very difficult for obviously a cash flow perspective, because cash is king in businesses, and everyone needs to have a good cash flow. So the ones that have been struggling and then want money up front maybe struggle a little bit more because people can't afford to pay them up front. So yeah, it's made it very challenging to find subcontractors and suppliers at the moment that can fulfill your needs the same as they did pre-March when obviously the virus hit the UK.
Right. So, you previously mentioned to me that a lot of your manufacturing you source in the UK. Do you think, or do you see any benefit going forward to have a plan where you have a more diversified range of suppliers, which might mean outsourcing globally in order to minimize that risk that such a global disaster could happen again? You have less risk and less disruption to the supply chain.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a need for sourcing wherever you can get the parts you need. As long as a business can supply you something within the correct standards that are specified, especially in the UK, obviously, when you're doing work for the nuclear, Ministry of Defence, railways and things, that the specifications are really tight. So as long as you can outsource and achieve them specifications, I suppose the world is your oyster, really. You can go to any country that you see fit. There is benefits there. If that supply chain can really feed you well, then yes, I can't see a problem with it. I mean, not everything is about cost. So as long as cost is in the right area and you budgeted for it, and the supply is good, the quality is good, then yeah, demand can go wherever it needs to go in the world. It doesn't have to be UK. Obviously, UK companies do like to try and buy from UK, but if that's not possible, then sometimes you need to cast that net a little bit further and yeah, definitely. If the world is there to supply, then sometimes you need to go that way.
I totally agree. And it kind of leads me on to my next question, which you've kind of touched upon already, in terms of what do you look for in a supplier? So what are the traits that you look for when you are going to source and give award projects?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I mean, every company is different and every purchasing department are different. But in my role and how I like to deal with my supply chain is a lot of it is about building a relationship. Um, if you can get that relationship with your suppliers where they know exactly what you want, they can supply how you want it. Um, Obviously, that is one of the key things for me because you start building a bit of trust. You deal with them, they know everything about you, you know everything about them, and it's sort of you can dovetail with them. But in the start, obviously, picking a supplier to start with, you need to understand that supplier and what they can do. Have they got all the certifications in place that you need? Can they supply the actual parts that you need? There's quite a lot of work goes in up front to make sure that them suppliers are the correct suppliers for the business, and then build slowly. I'd never go in with a new business and give a supplier a huge amount of work to start with. I'd rather drip feed to start with, make sure that what you're getting is correct to what you're asking for, the pricing's right, and then gradually build up from there. Build that business up, build the relationship up generally over 6 months, a year, and then hopefully get to a point where you can almost push a button and say, "This is what I want." You know you're going to get the price, you know you're going to get the quality, and it becomes easier all around then. But obviously, that takes work and patience to build that relationship.
Right. I think you touched on some really important points there. And most of our clients, they actually do place smaller orders first, like you said, to test the quality. And relationships are key. And for the platform that we have, we actually do vet the supplier before. So you can come onto our platform knowing that that supplier is as they say they are. You can see the capacities they've got, you can see the previous projects. So it's a lot more transparent. And so we are actually a digital manufacturing platform. How do you think that digital manufacturing, or where do you see digital manufacturing positioned in this space? Do you think that we're moving towards a more digital based sourcing for manufacturing as opposed to the traditional way? How do you see digital manufacturing fitting in?
Well, I think there's definitely a huge market for it now, especially with what obviously COVID's shown us a lot more people working from home. A lot more has gone online. I mean, just take this interview for example. It's all done digitally. There's no face to face anymore. Meeting up in someone's office. Everything is going online. So there's obviously a big market for it now. There's still times when that traditional buying is needed, and you want to go to that local person if you wanted something very unique and special to be able to go and have lots of meetings and sit down with people and discuss things. It's very hard to take that into a digital market. But if you've got something that is simple enough to send out and a drawing and a company can pick that up fairly easy, then great. That can all go digitalized, and you can obviously blanket out to quite a few companies and see where the market lies and what people do.
Yes, right. So your business manufactures in-house and outsources. Can you tell us what kind of projects do you outsource as opposed to manufacture in-house?
Right, we probably we manufacture everything 100% in house, but what we do is we outsource certain parts of the project. So we obviously outsource all material. All material is bought in. We do the mass majority of the laser cutting and profiling in house. We do nearly all the fabrication in house. We do some of the machining, so CNC machining work, but we probably would buy if we needed a mass bulk of smaller parts. We'd probably buy them in as a job. We wouldn't buy the material. We'd outsource that completely. So little bosses and things like that, we wouldn't bother with in house. And any sort of big machining. So if we've done a huge fabrication that needs machining, that would probably get subcontracted out, so we'd ship that out for someone else to do. We outsource our painting and things along them lines. But generally, the fabrication and the standard medium sort of machining we do in house, everything else would probably go out.
So in terms of your plan for the near future, how do you see your sourcing changing from how it was before? And what's your plan, what's your upcoming strategy for dealing with a post-COVID manufacturing environment?
A lot of hard work. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of digging, and I think a big part of our plan going forward is to open up our supply base a little bit. I think over the years we've managed to get into a little rut where we use certain companies for certain things. I think that needs to open up a little bit more. We need to broaden where and who we source from, because one thing this has taught us is you can't put all them eggs into one or two baskets. You've got to have the flexibility to use different people and be able to source from other areas.